When cosmic powers looked away, humanity rose to claim the stars. The massive crystalline doors of the Galactic Council's judgment chamber slid open with a low, resonant hum. Admiral Marcus Vega stepped forward, his weathered face showing no emotion as he led the small human delegation into the cavernous hall. The chamber rose hundreds of meters above them, its walls lined with thousands of alien representatives from across the known universe. Light poured in through enormous viewport windows showing the swirling violet nebula outside, a reminder that this station existed at the very center of galactic governance, far from Earth. At the center of the chamber floated the Council of 90 massive, ethereal beings of pure energy who had governed interstellar affairs for millennia. Their voices seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. The species known as humans stand accused of violating Galactic Directive 7392, unauthorized, expansion beyond established boundaries, announced Arbiter Kalox, the eldest of the nine, its voice reverberating through the chamber. The penalty is immediate regression of your civilization to pre-industrial status. Admiral Vega remained composed, despite the murmurs rippling through the assembled aliens. We acknowledge your existence, Arbiter, but we contest the charges. Humanity was never officially restricted. We were overlooked. The chamber erupted in incredulous chatter. The nine pulsed with indignation. Impossible, thundered Arbiter Kalox. Every developing species is cataloged and monitored. Not us, said Dr. Eleanor Rivera, stepping forward beside Vega. She activated a holographic projection showing Earth's location in the galactic arm. Our solar system falls precisely between the boundaries of 3 oversight sectors. We've analyzed your public records. Each sector assumed another was responsible for us. The nine conferred silently, their energy forms pulsating with increasing agitation. While you looked away, Vega continued, his voice gaining strength. We developed on our own terms, without your guidance or your limitations. Dr. Rivera pressed a control on her wrist device. The hologram expanded to reveal a network of human settlements spanning across dozens of star systems, far more extensive than the Council had realized. We're not here to be judged, Vega declared. We're here to claim our rightful place among the stars. The hologram shifted again, revealing massive structures orbiting distant suns about her technology that should be beyond human capability. What are those? Demanded a reptilian counselor from the upper tiers. Vega's expression remained neutral, but his eyes held a glint of something dangerous. Insurance, in case this meeting doesn't go well. The nine flared brightly in alarm as the implications became clear. Humanity wasn't just overlooked, they had been preparing, and the cosmic powers' oversight might have just cost them their absolute authority. 5 years earlier, Dr. Eleanor Rivera stood alone in her observatory nestled high in the Chilean Andes. The midnight sky blazed with stars above the massive telescope dome. She stared at her computer screen, running the calculations again. This can't be right, she whispered. The radiation patterns she'd detected didn't match any known cosmic phenomenon. They were too regular, too structured. They were signals or artificially created signals. Her phone rang, startling her. Rivera, she answered. Dr. Rivera, this is Commander Marcus Vega, United Earth Space Command. We need to talk about your recent findings. Rivera's heart raced. How do you know about my research? I haven't published anything yet. Because we've been looking for exactly what you found, Vega replied. I'll be at your facility tomorrow morning. This conversation isn't for unsecured lines. When Vega arrived the next day, he wasn't alone. He brought a team of scientists and military personnel, who quickly secured the observatory. In a locked conference room, he showed Rivera classified photographs of a crashed alien craft recovered from the Pacific Ocean floor. We've been reverse engineering their technology for 18 months, Vega explained. But we couldn't make sense of their navigation systems until your discovery. Rivera studied the strange symbols covering the twisted metal fragments. These match the patterns in my signals, she said with dawning realization. Exactly, said Vega. You found their communication network. And more importantly, you've confirmed our theory that Earth exists in a monitoring blind spot. Project Umbra began that day. Using the recovered alien technology and Rivera's discovery of the oversight gap, humanity prepared in secret. They built stealth ships designed to exploit the administrative boundaries between alien territories. establishing hidden colonies on distant worlds while remaining invisible to the galaxy's governing powers. 2 years later, Rivera and Vega stood on the bridge of the UES Shadowrise, humanity's first true starship, as it silently glided through the void toward the nearest habitable system. "We have to assume they'll notice us eventually," Vega said, watching the alien star grow larger on the view screen. "By then we'll be ready," Rivera replied, studying the plans for what would eventually become the stellar megastructures, humanity's insurance policy against discovery. Back in the council chamber, Admiral Vega stood firm as the 9 regained their composure. "How is this possible?" demanded Kalox. "How could humans advance so quickly without guidance?" "Perhaps that's exactly why," Vega replied. "Without constraints, we found our own path." A slender, blue-skinned representative rose from the middle tier. "Arbiter, if I may speak." The alien's voice was melodic, almost hypnotic. "I am Ambassador Telix of the Vexari Confederation. We have had encounters with humans already. They disabled one of our vessels without destroying it while showing both capability and restraint. This caused another ripple of murmurs through the chamber. "And what would you suggest, Ambassador?" asked one of the 9. "The humans have achieved what many thought impossible. Rather than punishment, perhaps we should consider what they might contribute as equals." The chamber descended into chaos as representatives shouted over one another. Some demanded immediate quarantine of all human worlds. Others called for study of human technology. A few even suggested the 9 had deliberately allowed humans to develop as some kind of experiment. Through it all, the human delegation remained calm. This reaction was expected. "Enough." The voice of Kalok silenced the chamber. "We will recess to consider this unprecedented situation. The human delegation will remain under observation until we reconvene." As they were escorted from the chamber, Rivera whispered to Vega, "They're scared." Vega nodded slightly. "Good. Fear leads to respect." "And what if they decide to make an example of us?" asked the third member of their delegation, Ambassador Jordan, who had remained silent throughout the proceedings. "Then we demonstrate why that would be unwise," Vega replied quietly. "The Helios network is fully operational. If we don't send the all-clear signal every 6 hours, stellar flares will be directed at key council worlds." Jordan looked troubled. "Is threatening them really the best approach?" "We're not threatening," Rivera corrected. "We're negotiating from a position of strength." "There's a difference." In their assigned quarters, the 3 humans gathered around a secure communication device. Vega activated it, revealing the holographic face of Fleet Captain Darius Ward. "The Shadow Fleet is in position, Admiral," Ward reported. "All Council archive facilities are under surveillance. We've identified the restricted sections containing records of the oversight sectors." "Good," said Vega. "Be ready to move if we give the signal. We need those records to prove our case." "And if they decide against us?" Ward asked. Vega's expression hardened. "Then get what we need to expose the truth. The galaxy deserves to know that its perfect council isn't so perfect after all." As the transmission ended, Rivera's instruments detected a surge of energy. "They're scanning us," she announced, "trying to access our systems remotely." "Let them see just enough," Vega ordered. "Show them we know about the architects." Rivera entered a command sequence allowing certain decoy files to appear vulnerable. Among them, references to the architect experiment and controlled evolution theory. In the Grand Council control room, the 9 watched in stunned silence as the human files appeared on their screens. "They know," whispered one of the younger council members. "How could they possibly know about the architects?" Kalox's energy form dimmed slightly. "We must reconvene immediately. The humans are more dangerous than we realized." The stage was set for a confrontation that would forever change the balance of power in the galaxy. Humanity had risen while cosmic powers looked away, and they would not be easily pushed back into the shadows. When cosmic powers looked away, humanity rose to claim the Stars Doctor. Eleanor Rivera stood frozen before the ancient alien ruins, her breath forming small clouds in the cold air of this distant planet. Behind her, armed guards from the UES Shadowrise maintained a perimeter, their weapons ready. The stone structure before her seemed to pulse with faint blue light, responding to her presence in ways that defied explanation. "Are you getting this, Admiral?" She spoke into her communication device, her voice barely above a whisper. "Every bit." Admiral Vega's voice replied from the orbiting ship. Our translators are working on the symbols. They match nothing in the records we've salvaged so far. Rivera approached the glowing wall cautiously, her scanner detecting energy readings unlike anything she'd seen before. I think this was built by another species that found the oversight gap. Before us. She brushed away centuries of dust from a central panel, revealing intricate designs that began to shift and realign at her touch. The entire wall slid open silently, revealing a chamber beyond. Inside, suspended in a field of energy, floated what appeared to be a star mappa, but with strange markings highlighting specific suns. Admiral. Rivera's voice trembled with excitement. I think I just found the plans for the stellar megastructures. Whoever built these ruins, they had the same idea we did. And where are they now? Vega asked the question they were both thinking. Rivera's scanner picked up new readings from deeper within the ruins' raw readings that matched perfectly with Council technology. I think the Council found them, she said grimly, and made them disappear. Discovery of these ruins would change everything for Project Umbra. Here was proof that humanity wasn't the first species to fall through the cracks of cosmic oversight, and evidence that the Council had destroyed those who came before. But most importantly, here were the blueprints that would accelerate humanity's contingency plan. The creation of a network of stellar manipulators that could harness and direct the energy of stars themselves. 3 years earlier, the story had begun with a simple anomaly. Dr. Rivera had been analyzing unusual radiation patterns at her observatory in Chile when she noticed something odd. There were regular gaps in what should have been random cosmic background radiation. It's, like looking at static on an old television, she explained to her colleague, Dr. Thomas Reed. Except there are these perfectly regular holes in the static. That doesn't happen naturally. Reed adjusted his glasses, staring at the screen. So what are you saying? That someone is creating these patterns? Not creating, Rivera corrected. Removing. It's like something or someone is deliberately erasing parts of the cosmic background radiation, creating blind spots. It was this discovery that had brought Commander Marcus Vega to her observatory the next day. Unknown to Rivera, the United Earth Space Command had recently recovered a damaged alien scout ship from the depths of the Pacific Ocean. The ship's navigation system contained similar radiation maps, but they couldn't decipher them until Rivera's discovery provided the key. Your blind spots match perfectly with administrative boundaries in their navigation charts, Vega explained, showing her the classified images. Earth falls precisely at the intersection of 3 different jurisdictional zones. Meaning what? Rivera asked. Meaning we're in a bureaucratic blind spot, Vega said with a grim smile. No one's watching us because each of them thinks someone else is responsible for our sector. Project Umbra was established within weeks, operating from a secret facility beneath the Atacama Desert. There, Rivera worked with a team of the world's best scientists to reverse engineer the alien technology. Progress was slow until they decided to activate the ship's distress beacon. The response was immediate and revealing. They intercepted communications from 3 different administrative outposts, each initially claiming jurisdiction, then quickly deferring to the others. None actually sent rescue ships. They're stretched thin, Vega observed, watching the intercepted transmissions. Too many systems, too few resources. And they're territorial about their boundaries. Which gives us an opportunity, Rivera added. If we can develop ships that can navigate through these blind spots, we can expand without being noticed. And that's exactly what they did. Over the next 2 years, Project Umbra developed the Shadow Fleet Gunwer stealth vessels designed to exploit the administrative gaps. They established hidden research outposts and colonies in neighboring star systems, all while remaining invisible to Council monitoring systems. Now, standing before the ancient ruins on a planet 50 light-years from Earth, Rivera realized they had found something far more valuable than another outpost. They had found validation now and a warning. The translation team worked through the night decoding the alien records stored within the ruins. The species that had built this facility called themselves the Lorendi. Like humans, they had developed in an oversight gap. Like humans, they had expanded quietly among the stars. And like humans, they had eventually been discovered. But the Lorendi had not prepared a defense. When the Council found them, they were given a simple choice: regression or extinction. They chose to fight heroes and they lost. Before their defeat, however, they had designed a weapon system that could harness stellar energy on a massive scale. They never completed it. The plans hidden in these ruins were their legacy, their warning to any who might follow in their footsteps. "We won't make their mistake," Vega declared, after reviewing the translated records. "We won't wait until we're discovered to prepare our defense." Construction of the Helios network began immediately, with components manufactured in secret across human-controlled systems. Each unit was designed to be nearly undetectable until activated, at which point it could redirect stellar flares with pinpoint accuracy, creating weapons of unimaginable power. 2 years later, with the Helios network nearing completion, the inevitable happened. A diplomatic vessel from the Vexari Confederation, a mid-tier council species, encountered one of humanity's research stations in the Tau Ceti system. The encounter began peacefully. The Vexari were curious about this unknown species operating in what they considered unclaimed space. Initial communications were cautious but cordial. "They seem reasonable," reported Station Commander Alexis Foster during her secure call with Vega and Rivera. "Their technology is impressive but not overwhelmingly advanced. I think we could establish positive relations." "Proceed with caution," Vega advised. "Remember Protocol 7. Protocol 7 was simple. Share limited technology and knowledge, gauge reactions, prepare for possible hostilities." Foster followed it perfectly, inviting a small Vexari delegation aboard the station while keeping most systems locked down. The Vexari ambassador, Telex, was fascinated by humans. "Your evolutionary path is unlike any we've seen," the blue-skinned diplomat remarked, studying the station's historical archives. "So many adaptations in such a short time. The Council would find you most interesting." It was an innocent comment, but it changed everything. Foster immediately sent a coded alert to Earth. "What is this council you mentioned?" Foster asked, maintaining a casual tone. Telex's 4 eyes blinked in surprise. "The Galactic Council, of course. The 9 who govern all civilized space." The ambassador paused, realization dawning. You don't know about the council?" "Should we?" Foster countered. That's when the situation deteriorated. The Vexari, upon realizing they had encountered an unregistered, unmonitored species, immediately attempted to place a quarantine field around the human station. Standard procedure for dealing with potential containment breaches. Foster activated the station's defense systems, disabling the Vexari ship without destroying it. "This is not an act of war," she broadcast to the stunned Vexari crew. "But we will not be quarantined." The disabled Vexari vessel sent emergency signals to their homeworld. Within hours, Ambassador Talia Jordan Ford, the newest member of Project Umbra's leadership, arrived to negotiate. Jordan had been selected specifically for her diplomatic skills and unorthodox thinking. "Your situation is unusual," Telex admitted during tense negotiations. "Unregistered species are typically primitive. You are not. We propose an alternative to conflict," Jordan offered. "Partnership outside council oversight. Your people gain access to unique human innovations that would typically be restricted by council protocols. In exchange, you delay reporting our existence." The Vexari captain was intrigued. Council regulations had long hampered Vexari development. Access to unrestricted human technology was tempting. Such an arrangement would be unprecedented, Telex said cautiously. "So is our situation," Jordan replied with a smile. "Sometimes unprecedented problems require unprecedented solutions." The Vexari were considering the offer when long-range sensors detected a council enforcement vessel responding to the Vexari distress call. There was no more time for negotiation. "You have a choice," Vega told Telex over emergency channels. "Stand with us against council restrictions or stand aside. Either way, humanity will not submit to quarantine." As the council vessel approached, humanity's secret was exposed. The carefully planned timeline was accelerated. Admiral Vega activated the Shadow Fleet and prepared for what had always been inevitable: a direct confrontation with the Galactic Council. When cosmic powers looked away, humanity rose to claim the stars. The Vexari diplomatic vessel hung motionless in space, caught in the invisible grip of the human research station's containment field. Inside the station's conference room, Ambassador Talia Jordan faced the blue-skinned alien across a table that suddenly seemed too small. The 4 eyes of Ambassador Telex blinked rapidly. a sign of distress among the Vexari. "You do not understand the gravity of this situation," Telek said, voice oscillating between high and low tones. "Unregistered species are to be immediately reported and quarantined. This is absolute law." Jordan maintained a calm expression despite the tension filling the room. "And yet here we are. An unregistered species with technology advanced enough to disable your ship without destroying it. Doesn't that suggest the law might have exceptions?" Before Telex could respond, the station's alert system activated. Commander Alexis Foster's voice came through the communication system, tense and urgent. "Ambassador Jordan, we have detected a Council enforcement vessel approaching at high speed. Estimated arrival, 17 minutes. Jordan never took her eyes off Telex. "It seems we're about to have company. The question is, are they coming because you called them or because someone else did?" "I sent no signal," Telex protested, four hands splaying in a gesture of innocence. "But all Vexari vessels have emergency protocols. If communications cease for more than 6 hours, automated distress signals are transmitted. Then we have 17 minutes to decide the future of both our species," Jordan replied, activating her secure communication link. "Admiral Vega, we need options." Admiral Vega's holographic image appeared above the table, causing Telex to recoil in surprise. "The Shadow Fleet is mobilizing, Ambassador, but we're not yet ready for open confrontation with Council forces." "Then perhaps confrontation isn't our best option," Jordan suggested, studying the increasingly agitated Vexari. "Ambassador Telex, what do you know about Council enforcement procedures when responding to first contact situations?" "They will establish a quarantine perimeter and summon a judgment assembly," Telex explained. "All unregistered species must be evaluated before being granted any status within Council space." "And how long does this evaluation typically take?" "Years, sometimes decades." Jordan shared a meaningful look with Vega's hologram. "We don't have years, Admiral." "No," Vega agreed grimly. "We have 15 minutes. Make them count, Ambassador." As the hologram faded, Jordan leaned forward. "Ambassador Telex, I'm going to share something with you that might change your perspective. Your people have been Council members for a what? 300 years? 273 solar cycles," Telex corrected. "And in that time, how much has Vexari technology advanced? How many restrictions has the Council placed on your development? How many innovations have been deemed too destabilizing for your species to pursue?" Telex's eyes narrowed. "How could you know about our innovation restrictions?" "Because we've studied Council records from salvaged data cores," Jordan replied. "We know the Council maintains stability by controlling technological advancement. Every species is kept in a careful balance, allowed to progress only when the Council deems them ready." Jordan activated a small projector, displaying schematics for an energy converter R1 the Vexari had been prohibited from developing. This design was submitted by Vexari scientists 80 years ago and rejected by the Council Technology Oversight Committee, Jordan explained. "We built a working prototype last year. It powers this entire station." Telex stared at the schematics, four eyes widening in recognition. "We offer partnership, not subjugation," Jordan continued. "Work with us to establish a new relationship with the Council, one based on mutual respect rather than control." On the bridge of the UES Shadow Rise, Admiral Vega watched the approaching Council vessel with growing concern. The enforcement ship was massive, at least 5 times the size of any human vessel, and its energy signatures suggested weapon systems far beyond current human capabilities. "Dr. Rivera, status of the Helios network?" he asked. Eleanor Rivera studied her console intently. 4 nodes are operational. The others need at least another 48 hours to reach minimum capacity. Will 4 be enough for a demonstration? Rivera hesitated. "A small one. Enough to get their attention without causing permanent damage." Vega nodded. "Prepare a targeting solution for their propulsion systems. If negotiations fail, we need to be ready." "Admiral," Rivera said cautiously, "once we reveal the Helios network, there's no going back. The Council will know exactly what we're capable of." "They already know too much," Vega replied. "Our only advantage now is showing strength while offering peace. A delicate balance, but one humanity has played before." In the conference room, the negotiations had taken an unexpected turn. Telex had gone from reluctant captive to cautious ally in the span of 10 minutes. The Vexari had long chafed under Council restrictions, and the prospect of accessing human innovation was tempting. Your proposal has merit, Telex admitted, but I lack authority to make such agreements. You have authority to request a formal diplomatic meeting rather than immediate quarantine, Jordan countered. That would give us time to present our case to your government properly. The station's alert system activated again. Ambassador, the council vessel has entered scanning range. They're hailing us. Jordan looked to Telex. Decision time, Ambassador. Stand with us or stand aside. Telex's 4 hands performed a complex gesture that the translation system couldn't interpret. I will speak with them, but I make no promises beyond that. The main screen activated, revealing the bridge of the council vessel. A tall insectoid being dominated the center of the image, its chitinous exoskeleton gleaming under harsh lighting. This is Enforcer Drax of the Galactic Council, the being announced, mandibles clicking between words. We are responding to distress signals from the Vexari vessel. State your identity and purpose. Before Jordan could respond, Telex stepped forward. Enforcer Drax, this is Ambassador Telex of the Vexari Confederation. There has been a misunderstanding. We are engaged in peaceful first contact protocols with a previously unknown species. The Enforcer's compound eyes seemed to narrow. Unknown species? In this sector? Impossible. All sapient life is catalogued. Evidently not, Telex replied. I formally request a diplomatic summit rather than enforcement action. This species has shown remarkable restraint and technological sophistication. Standard quarantine procedures would be inappropriate. The Vexari do not determine protocol, Drax snapped. Stand down and prepare for boarding. We will assess the situation directly. Jordan stepped into view. Enforcer Drax, I am Ambassador Talia Jordan of Earth. We respectfully decline your boarding request. We propose instead a formal meeting with appropriate diplomatic representatives. You have no standing to make demands, Drax replied dismissively. Prepare for quarantine field deployment. Jordan glanced at a small display on her wrist, showing a countdown from Admiral Vega. 3 minutes until the Helios network was ready. Enforcer, she said firmly. Deploying a quarantine field would be perceived as a hostile act. We would be forced to respond accordingly. Your threats are meaningless, Drax said. No unregistered species possesses technology capable of resisting council enforcement. Jordan smiled thinly. Perhaps you should check your historical records regarding species designated as Lorendi before making such assumptions. The mention of the Lorendi caused visible shock among the council vessel's bridge crew. Drax himself stepped back slightly. How do you know that name? The Enforcer demanded. We know many things the council would prefer remained hidden, Jordan replied, including the true purpose of oversight gaps and the role of the architects in species development. Now, shall we discuss diplomatic options, or would you prefer a demonstration of why quarantine would be unwise? On the Shadow Rise, Vega received the signal from Jordan. She's magnificent, he murmured with admiration. Bought us the time we needed. He turned to Rivera. Activate Helios Node 1. Minimal power, targeting coordinates already programmed. Rivera's fingers flew across her console. Node 1 activating. Solar flare redirection in 3, 2, 1. Millions of kilometers away, an unremarkable stellar monitoring satellite orbiting a red dwarf star suddenly transformed. Hidden panels opened, revealing a complex array of gravitational lenses and energy directors. The satellite captured a small solar flare erupting from the star's surface and, through technology derived from the ancient Lorendi designs, focused and redirected it. The beam struck with surgical precision, severing the council vessel's main communication array without damaging any other systems. The message was clear. Humans could have targeted something far more vital. Channel open to the Enforcer's vessel, Rivera reported. Vega stepped forward. Enforcer Drax, this was a demonstration of restraint, not aggression. We could have targeted your propulsion or life support systems just as easily. We choose diplomacy over conflict, but we will not be quarantined or subjugated. On the view screen, Drax's mandibles clicked rapidly in what might have been anger or fear. This technology is forbidden. The Council will what? Vega interrupted. Punish us for developing independently in the oversight gap When cosmic powers looked away, humanity rose to claim the Star's fleet. Captain Darius Ward stood in the shadows of an enormous archive hall, his stealth suit rendering him nearly invisible against the towering data stacks of Nexus Prime. The ancient world served as the central repository for all Council records. billions of years of galactic history stored in crystalline memory cores that stretched hundreds of meters toward the vaulted ceiling. Position check, Ward whispered into his communication device. Team Alpha in position at the western access point, came the immediate response. Team Beta ready at emergency extraction. Coordinates? Team Delta has secured the diversion. Target. Ward nodded to himself, though no one could see him. Remember, we're here for the oversight sector records and anything related to the architects. Timing is critically. We have exactly 47 minutes before the security grid resets. The Shadow Fleet's mission to infiltrate the Council archives was the most dangerous operation humans had ever attempted. While Admiral Vega and Ambassador Jordan handled the diplomatic front, Ward's team would gather the evidence needed to prove humanity's caso, that they had been deliberately overlooked as part of a secret experiment by certain council members. Ward moved silently through the archive hall, following the mapped route to restricted Section 9 Alpha. According to their intelligence, this area contained the classified records of species development studies, including the architect's experiments in controlled evolution. As he approached the security barrier, a soft alarm suddenly blared through the chamber. Ward froze, his hand moving to his weapon. Captain, we have a problem. The voice of Lieutenant Ramirez came through his comm. Security protocols are changing. They're implementing a Level 5 lockdown. Cause? Ward demanded. Unknown, but it's not us. Something else has triggered their systems. Ward made a split-second decision. Proceed with primary objective. Delta Team, initiate diversion now. Across the archive complex, explosive charges detonated in a carefully calculated pattern, damaging nothing important, but creating enough chaos to draw security forces away from the main archive hall. Ward moved quickly, attaching a decryption device to the security barrier. The advanced human technology, Kaisha reverse-engineered from salvaged Council components, made quick work of the outdated security systems. The barrier shimmered and disappeared, revealing row upon row of restricted data cores. Ward stepped forward, scanner in hand, searching for the specific frequency signatures they needed. Captain, you have company, warned the surveillance team. 3 security drones approaching from the north corridor. Ward didn't hesitate. Ramirez, I need that override code now. Transmitting, his lieutenant responded. Ward's device projected the code sequence, temporarily freezing the approaching security drones. It wouldn't last long. Council systems were adaptable, designed to counter intrusion methods quickly. He moved deeper into the restricted section, scanner pulsing as it searched for matching data patterns. Finally, it locked onto a specific crystalline core, glowing with a faint purple light that distinguished it from the others. Found it, Ward reported, carefully removing the core from its housing. Oversight sector records dating back approximately 4,000 years. His scanner beeped again, more urgently this time. Following the signal, Ward discovered a smaller data core hidden behind several others. This one pulsing with a red light that seemed almost angry. Secondary target acquired, he reported. Appears to be information on something called the Architect Experiment. Ward, get out of there now, came Admiral Vega's voice, unexpectedly joining the communication channel. Council forces are mobilizing. Our diplomatic delay tactics are failing. Ward secured both data cores in his specialized carrying case. Understood. Extraction plan Omega in progress. As he turned to leave, a new alarm sounded, different from the others, more urgent and penetrating. The archive hall's lights shifted from soft blue to pulsing red. Captain, the security system recognized the removal of restricted cores, Ramirez warned. Automated defense systems activating. From recesses in the walls, sleek metallic spheres emerged, dossier security drones equipped with immobilization fields and neural disruptors. They moved with frightening speed, converging on Ward's position from multiple directions. All teams, fall back to extraction point, Ward ordered, drawing his pulse weapon. Omega Protocol authorized. The Omega Protocol was a last resort, a coordinated electromagnetic pulse designed to temporarily disable all Council systems within a half-kilometer radius. It would alert every security force on Nexus Prime to their presence, but it would also give them the precious minutes needed to escape. Ward triggered the device just as the first security drone came within striking distance. A wave of energy pulsed outward, and for a moment everything electronic in the archive hall simply stopped. The drones dropped to the floor, the alarm systems went silent, and even the soft glow of the data cores dimmed significantly. In the sudden darkness, Ward activated his night vision and sprinted toward the extraction point, the precious data cores secure against his chest. Dr. Rivera stood before the main control interface of Helios Network Node 7, making final adjustments to the gravitational lenses that would allow them to redirect solar energy with devastating precision. This node, hidden in orbit around a binary star system, was the most powerful of the network, capable of channeling enough energy to disable an entire fleet. "Status report," came Admiral Vega's voice through the communication system. "Node 7 will be fully operational within 3 hours," Rivera replied, not looking up from her work. "Nodes 1 through 6 are already at 90% capacity." "Accelerate if possible," Vega ordered. "The Council is assembling a judgment panel. We need all defensive options ready." Rivera paused, wiping sweat from her brow. The gravity fluctuations from the binary stars made working conditions difficult, even with the station's compensators. "Admiral, even with the Helios network complete, we can't fight the entire Council," she said. "We need the evidence Captain Ward is retrieving." "He'll get it," Vega assured her. "Ward has never failed a mission." Rivera wasn't so certain. "And if he does this time?" "What's our contingency?" Vega's voice hardened. "Then we demonstrate enough power to force negotiations. The Council values stability above all else. They'll bargain rather than risk open war with an unpredictable opponent." "Is that what we've become?" Rivera asked quietly. "The unpredictable opponent that threatens galactic stability?" "We've become whatever we needed to be to survive," Vega replied. "The Council left us no choice." Rivera returned to her work, making the final calibrations to the gravitational lenses. As she did, she wondered if there had been another path, or one that didn't involve weapons capable of redirecting the fury of stars themselves. On the Council station, Ambassador Jordan stood firm before a preliminary panel of representatives. The full Council of 9 had not yet assembled. This was merely a procedural hearing to determine the initial response to humanity's unexpected emergence. "Your species has violated fundamental principles of galactic order," stated the Rixian. Representative, a tall, crystalline being whose voice resonated through the chamber. "Unregistered expansion is forbidden for good reason. Developing species must be guided to ensure they do not become threats to themselves or others." "And yet," Jordan countered, "your own records show that Earth falls in an administrative oversight gap. We were never officially designated for monitoring. Our development occurred naturally without interference." "An oversight that will be corrected," the representative replied dismissively. "Your colonies will be quarantined and your technology assessed. Those developments deemed inappropriate for your evolutionary stage will be removed." Jordan smiled thinly. "I'm afraid that's not acceptable. Humanity has established itself among the stars through our own efforts. We will not surrender our autonomy." The Vexari representative, not Telex but a higher-ranking diplomat, spoke next. "The human ambassador raises valid points. If their world was truly overlooked due to administrative error, can we justly punish them for our mistake?" "It is not about punishment," insisted the Rixian. "It is about maintaining the proper order. All species must develop according to established patterns." "Why?" Jordan asked, her voice cutting through the chamber. "So they can be controlled? So they don't challenge the authority of those already in power?" Murmurs spread through the assembled representatives. Such direct questioning of Council wisdom was rare. "The humans must be contained before they spread further," the Rixian declared. "I move for immediate enforcement action." "And risk open conflict?" the Vexari countered. "The humans have already demonstrated technology capable of neutralizing Council vessels without destruction. Perhaps dialogue would be more productive than threats." As the debate continued, Jordan received a subtle alert on her communication device. A message from Admiral Vega. "Ward has the evidence. Stand by for transmission." Jordan concealed her relief, maintaining her diplomatic composure as she addressed the panel again. "Esteemed representatives, before you make any decisions regarding humanity's status, I believe there is information you should review. Information about why Earth truly fell into an oversight gap. When cosmic powers looked away, humanity rose to claim the stars. The massive crystalline doors of the Galactic Council's Grand Chamber slid open once more. But this time Admiral Marcus Vega strode through them with a different purpose. No longer was humanity on trial. Now they were the accusers. Behind him walked Ambassador Talia Jordan and Dr. Eleanor Rivera, each carrying data tablets containing the evidence that would change the balance of power in the galaxy forever. The chamber was packed beyond capacity. Representatives from hundreds of species crowded the tiered seating, their voices a constant murmur of anticipation and concern. News of the human revelation had spread quickly through council space, drawing unprecedented attention. At the center of the chamber, the 9 floated in their energy forms, no longer radiating the absolute authority they once had. They seemed diminished somehow, as if the coming revelations had already affected their very essence. "This emergency session of the full council is now convened," announced Arbiter Kalox, though its voice lacked the commanding resonance of their first meeting. "The human delegation has requested this forum to present evidence regarding allegations of irregular oversight practices." Vega stepped forward, his uniform crisp and formal, his posture unyielding. "Esteemed representatives of the Galactic Council, we come before you today not as supplicants but as equals. The evidence we present will demonstrate that Earth was not simply overlooked by administrative error, but deliberately placed outside normal monitoring protocols as part of an unauthorized experiment." He gestured to Dr. Rivera, who activated the main holographic display. The chamber darkened as images filled the space, ancient records recovered from the archives of Nexus Prime, displayed for all to see. "Project designation, Natural Evolution Study," Rivera read from the projected text. "Authorized by the Architect Subcommittee of the 9, Cycle 7829, selected test subject, planet designation Earth, inhabited by pre-industrial species humans. Purpose: to observe development patterns in absence of standard guidance protocols." Murmurs spread through the chamber like ripples across water. Several representatives rose to their feet in obvious agitation. "This is outrageous," declared the Rixian representative, crystal form pulsing with indignation. "These are internal council matters, not for public discussion." "These are matters that affect every species in this chamber," Vega countered. "For millennia, the Council has presented itself as a benevolent guide to developing civilizations. Yet these records prove that certain members of the 9 have been conducting experiments, deliberately leaving some species to develop, naturally while imposing strict controls on others, Ambassador." Jordan stepped forward. "The experiment goes beyond simple observation. Records indicate regular comparisons between Earth's development and other similar planets under standard Council guidance. The data explicitly questions whether Council intervention helps or hinders true civilization advancement." The chamber erupted in chaos as representatives shouted questions and demands. Many seemed shocked by the revelations, while others appeared unsurprised as if confirming long-held suspicions. Arbiter Kalox pulsed brightly, commanding silence. "These allegations are serious and will be investigated internally. However, they do not change the fact that unregistered expansion must be contained. The human colonies, will remain under human control," Vega interrupted firmly. "While your fleet approaches Earth, I should inform you that the Helios network is fully operational. All 7 nodes are targeted on key Council military installations. This is not a threat or merely a statement of mutual deterrence." The holographic display shifted to show the 7 stellar manipulation stations humanity had constructed based on the ancient Lorendi designs. Each was capable of redirecting stellar flares with devastating accuracy. "You would threaten the Council itself?" Kalox's energy form pulsed with what might have been outrage or fear. "We seek partnership, not conflict," Vega replied. "But we will not surrender our independence, especially not to authorities who have been experimenting with our development without consent." From the middle tier of the chamber, a new voice spoke. Ambassador Telix of the Vexari Confederation rose to address the Council. "The humans speak truth," Telix declared. "My government has reviewed the evidence they provided. The architects have been conducting similar experiments with numerous species, including our own during our early development. This revelation sent fresh shockwaves through the assembly. Other representatives began calling for access to the records, demanding to know if their species had also been subjects of experimentation. In orbit around Earth, the Council enforcement fleet had arrived to 20 massive warships positioned in threatening formation around humanity's homeworld. But they found themselves in an unexpected standoff. 7 unmarked human vessels held position near the fleet, each transmitting the same message on an open channel. This vessel controls one node of the Helios network. Any hostile action against Earth or human colonies will result in immediate defensive response. On the bridge of the lead Council warship, Commander Trazik stared at the sensor readings in disbelief. "These can't be accurate," he muttered. "The energy signatures from those human ships exceed our own by a factor of 3. The signatures match no known technology," his science officer confirmed. "But they appear to be drawing power directly from solar emissions. If these readings are correct, each vessel could redirect enough energy to disable multiple ships in our fleet." Trazik's mandibles clicked in agitation. "And we have no defense against such a weapon?" "None currently deployed," the officer admitted. "Theoretical countermeasures exist, but implementation would require months of preparation." The commander faced an impossible situation. His orders were to secure the human homeworld and establish quarantine protocols, standard procedure, for unregistered species. But these humans were far from standard. "Maintain position," Trazik ordered reluctantly. "Take no aggressive action while the Council deliberates." Back in the Council chamber, the 9 had withdrawn to confer privately, their energy forms huddled in communication only they could perceive. When they returned to the center of the chamber, it was clear that a division had occurred. 3 of the 9 had separated from the others, positioning themselves slightly apart. "The Council acknowledges the evidence presented," Arbiter Kalox announced, its voice subdued. "The activities of the Architect faction were not authorized by the full Council and represent a breach of our founding principles." One of the separated energy forms pulsed forward. "We do not apologize for seeking truth," it declared in a voice both ancient and arrogant. "For too long, the Council has enforced uniformity across the galaxy, stifling innovation and true progress. Our experiments proved what we long suspected. Unguided species often develop more rapidly and creatively than those under Council restrictions. You had no right to experiment with entire civilizations," shouted a representative from the upper tiers. "We had every right," the Architect countered. "The Council exists to guide development. How can we guide effectively if we do not understand the consequences of our guidance?" Admiral Vega stepped forward again. "This debate reveals the fundamental flaw in the Council's approach. You claim authority over all developing species, yet you cannot even agree among yourselves how that authority should be exercised." He gestured expansively toward the assembled representatives. "How many species here have had their development artificially slowed by Council restrictions? How many innovations were deemed too destabilizing and suppressed? How many worlds might have reached the stars centuries earlier without your guidance?" Ambassador Jordan joined him. "We propose an alternative. A new compact between species based on mutual respect rather than control. One where development is not dictated by central authority, but supported through cooperative exchange." "Chaos," declared one of the 9. "You propose chaos. We propose freedom," Vega corrected. "With appropriate safeguards. Certain technologies are planet killers, consciousness weapons, dimension fracturing, would remain restricted, but the blanket suppression of innovation would end." From throughout the chamber, representatives began to voice support. Species that had long chafed under Council restrictions saw an opportunity for change. Even some of the older Council members seemed intrigued by the possibility of a new approach. The Vexari representative moved to stand beside the human delegation. "The Vexari Confederation supports this proposal. We have already begun sharing technologies with humanity outside Council protocols, and both our species have benefited." Other representatives joined the Maoikar, first a few, then dozens. A movement was forming before the 9's very eyes, a coalition of species united by the desire for greater self-determination. Arbiter Kalox pulsed with what might have been resignation. "The Council must deliberate on these matters. Such fundamental changes cannot be decided in a single session." "While you deliberate," Vega replied, "humanity will maintain its independence and its defensive capabilities. We extend the same opportunity to any species that wishes to join our coalition." The Architect faction pulsed with agitation. "You cannot simply dismantle millennia of order. The consequences are..."